Everyone, hope you are doing good today. So in today I'm going to explain you all about AWS Lambda. So before starting what is AWS Lambda, let's talk about a bit about AWS. Nowadays everyone is talking about AWS. So let's have a look what it is. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. It's a global cloud platform which allows you to host and manages applications and services in internet. Millions of customers trust AWS. Every size of company is using AWS to reduce their cost and to develop the application faster. So basically AWS will provide you all the infrastructure to develop and host your application very faster. You don't need to set up your own data center to host the applications. In this video I am going to explain you one of the mostly used AWS services, that is AWS Lambda. So here you will learn what is AWS Lambda, why should we use it, and I will also show you how you can create your first Lambda in AWS console using Python, and also I will show you how you can invoke that Lambda from APIGateway, and I will also explain you how you can check logs for AWS Lambda for debugging. So what is AWS Lambda? AWS provides many different type of services. So few of them are known as compute services, like EC2, which is a virtual machine. I mean, you can think of it as your own PC, where you can install operating system and you can install all the software you want to host your applications. And one of them is Lambda. So Lambda is one of the compute services of AWS. Okay, and there are many other services like Fargate, which you can use to host your containers, but I am not going to explain you all of them today. So what is AWS Lambda? AWS Lambda is basically an event-driven serverless computing platform provided by Amazon as a part of AWS Web Services. So Lambda is basically a piece of code, okay, which you can deploy, and then you can invoke it as a event destination. Okay, like the source of the event is AWS APIGateway, and then APIGateway can invoke the Lambda. Okay, and then Lambda will execute the code and it will return the response to the APIGateway. Okay, if you upload something in your S3 bucket, then you can trigger a Lambda. So this is one example, and also another example, like you are uploading an image. Okay, so before inserting into database you want to convert the image into something else, like different format, then you can also trigger a Lambda. Okay, and it is designed to enable developers to run code without provisioning or managing servers. Okay, so like if you are developing an API or something to execute some business logic, so you need to host your code inside a server like Tomcat or WebLogic. So but here you can run your code without provisioning a server. It executes codes in response to events and automatically manages the computing resources required by the code. Okay, so like when you are creating a Lambda, you can define the runtime and the memory you want. Okay, and you can easily scale up the memory and the CPU allocation. Okay, so let me explain all these things using a architecture diagram. Okay, so it would be better to understand. So let's say our monolithic or conventional design. So you see, suppose you have a application, okay, where user can check their order status. Okay, so to host this application, what you have to do, you need to create REST API, right? and then you need to create your own business logic, and you need to host this piece of code inside a server, that is let's say Tomcat. Okay, and you also need to install Tomcat inside operating system, right, whether it is Ubuntu or whether it is Windows, whatever. And to install the operating system you need a PC, right? So you, and also you need to have an internet connection to host your application in the internet, and also you need 24/7 power supply. Okay, so there are many things you need to manage here to host a web application. And also you see there is a database, so you also need to manage the database here. So this is the monolithic application to host a web application. But now let's say how you can deploy this application in AWS very easily without thinking of server, operating system, power supply, internet connection. Okay, so let's see. So this is the AWS design. Okay, so here what you can do, you can deploy your REST API in APIGateway. Okay, and then you can deploy your business layer or business logic inside a Lambda. Okay, so Lambda contains a piece of code, and from Lambda you can make the SQL queries to database, and you can retrieve the data, and then you can send it back to the user. Okay, so here you see you don't need to think of any server, you don't need to think of any operating system. So all this environment will be managed by AWS for you. Okay, you just need to create an account on AWS, and then you need to set up your API gateway, and then you need to deploy your code in Lambda. That's it. You need nothing else. You don't need to think of any CPU management, any operating system, nothing. And all the application will be available 24/7 in the internet. So you can easily deploy a web application like this in AWS. So why you should use Lambda? You can run code without thinking of server, so that's the main advantage. Okay, and you only need to pay for the compute time. Okay, like your monolithic application, so you have operating system installed in a data center. Okay, so you have 24/7 power supply, so you need to pay for the electricity also, and you need to pay for the internet also. Okay, and then you need to maintain all the things there. But here you don't need to do any maintenance, you don't need to think of power supply, you don't need to think of internet connection. You just need to pay for the compute time you are using. Okay, that is, pay only for the compute time you consume. And the another advantage is that automatic scaling. Okay, suppose you have application, okay, and today you have defined memory for your application, like 3 gigabyte of memory you need, okay, to run your applications. But then another enhancement you developed to generate a Excel file. Okay, to generate an Excel file you need 8 gigabyte of RAM. So how you can do it in your monolithic application? In monolithic application you have to create a ticket to your support team, and then they will validate it with your manager and blah blah. You have to buy it from the market. So there are many things you need to do. You have to wait like 5 to 10 days to set it up. Okay, but in here you can do it in 1 second, just by clicking of a mouse. And also performance optimizations, you can allocate like any number of CPUs, you can increase the memories. And another important thing is that Lambda support different runtimes like Java, Python, Node.js, Ruby, .NET. So if you are a Java developer, you can write your code in Java. If you are Python developer, then you can write your code in Python. So there are many supported languages there. So that's all for the theoretical part of Lambda. So now I'm going to show you how you can create a Lambda in AWS console, and then I will also show you how you can invoke it using API. So stay tuned. Now I'm going to show you how you can easily set up your application in AWS. Okay, So to deploy your web application in AWS, you don't need to think of any server like Tomcat, you don't need to think of any operating system, or you don't need to think of any power supply or any internet connection, so that you can make your application available 24/7. Okay, so you just need to create an account in AWS. Okay, so I have already created my account, so now I will log into my AWS account. You just need to log in with your user password. So I have already set up my two-factor authentication, so I need to provide the code. So guys, I have explained you the monolithic application. Okay, so where user trying to get the status of his order. So for that you have to develop a REST API either using Jarcy or any other implementation, and you need to deploy it in Tomcat server. Okay, and Tomcat need to be installed in like Ubuntu or Windows. Okay, so here you don't need to do anything. Okay, just log into AWS, and then let's go to Lambda first. Okay, to create your business logic. Okay, so here what you can do, you just need to create a function. Okay, so I will create a function. Here you can provide the name of your function, like I am showing my order status. Okay, and then I will show you first in Python, and you don't need to think of any other things, those are advanced. So in my next video I will explain you more about Lambda's roles and permission, and also the advanced settings. Then click the create function. Okay, I'm showing you Python because Python you can edit in the browser. Okay, but if you select Java, then it's difficult to edit here. You have to create a jar and then you have to upload it to create your function. Okay, so all those I am going to explain you in my next videos using Java. Okay, so here you see a basic example of Lambda. So it's nothing but just a function. You just need to define a function, and here it will take event as an input. So as I told you that you can invoke Lambda because it's a event driven function, so there should be a source of the event. So I will show you the source, that is APIGateway, and this Lambda will be the destination of the source. So here you see it's a very simple thing, and this will be your return. So I'm not going to modify here anything. I will just update here status of your order is in progress, you see. And then to show you the log, I will just print something here. Okay, my order status. Okay, so that's it. You can now deploy it from here, and you can test the function from here. So you just need to create an event here, test event, my test order status. Okay, you don't need to think of this for the moment. And if you test it, you see the output. This is the my print, and this is the response. So here you can just verify it. Okay, but the actual thing is that how you can invoke it. Okay, from API. So let me create a API. Okay, so you just need to go to Amazon API Gateway. Okay, and here you can create many type of API, but I will show you REST API. So I will create a new API from here, my order status description, to get the status. That's it. Here you have many options. I am not going to explain you now. So I will select the regional, because I need to make it public, and that's it. Okay, now you can create the resources. So I will create orders, and then I will create another resource, child resource called status. Okay, so now my path is ready. Now I will create a method. Okay, so my method will be get, and then I will invoke the lambda function, and you see I have only one lambda function. I will just select it from here and then create. Okay, so that's it. You see your environment is ready, you just need to deploy it. Okay, so let me deploy my API. So I will create a new stage. So what is stage and all I will explain you in my next video. This is just to explain you how you can easily set up your environment in AWS. So now your API is ready, so you just need to go to the method, you see, and this is the invoke path. Okay, you just need to copy it. Okay, and then go to browser. You see you are getting the response from the lambda. Okay, you see how easy it is. You don't need to think of any application server or any web server like Tomcat. Okay, you don't need to think of any operating system, or you don't need to set up your data center. Okay, so you can easily create a web application in AWS, and it's very faster. Okay, you see this is your code. Okay, so here I am returning this, and then you can write something here to access your database. Okay, database access. So, and now I will show you how you can check the logs. So here in the console you go to the monitor and then go to the CloudWatch, and then search log groups. You see this is my log printed. Okay, so I have invoked 2 times. This is from test and this is from browser. You see how easy it is to create a API and then the business logic separately, and you don't need any infrastructure like your own data center, or you don't need to manage anything. Okay, so you can easily create an application in AWS. So that's all in today's video, and for more advanced topic on AWS I will create more and more videos, so please subscribe to my channel if you want to learn AWS. So in my next video I will try to show you how you can deploy lambdas from your local system using Eclipse, and also I will show you how you can deploy API using Swagger file or YMA file, because when you will start working on a project you should not use AWS console. Okay, you have to do everything from code pipeline. Okay, so you have to commit your code some Git repository, and from Git repository you can trigger the pipeline, and then pipeline will install all the resources like lambdas and APIs all, so you can automate the system. So that's all from today's video. Thank you, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like the content.